the peak of that album was, as you mentioned, with the release of the first single, The Grace. So it features Dallas Green of City and Color. The single goes gold. The single goes to number one on rock radio, goes to number one on Much Music and Much More Music. It was the sixth most played rock song period in the country that year. Just like unbelievable success. And I have a quote here from someone that was in the thick of all of that at the time. This is from Joel Carriere from Dine Records. So this is the man behind City and Color, Alexisonfire, a lot of Canada's biggest bands. This is what he has to say. Within months of each other, Daniel Victor's song The Grace, City and Color's Save Your Scissors, and Alexisonfire's Accidents took over Much Music and radio waves coast to coast. Each song was distinctively different and equally as amazing, which helps cement Dallas Green as one of Canada's best and most versatile voices. The Grace is forever a part of City and Color's story and a timeless song at that. So that's Joel Carriere, who knows something about music in Canada.
Thank you for sharing that. I haven't seen or talked to Joel in a long time, and that it brings back memories, back when I was working with Dallas, and there was a magic that happened at that time. And City and Color, which was recorded, 4 of the songs recorded in this room from his debut record, Sometimes. So I do have his platinum record hanging, which is, I was just so honored to be a part of that. But somebody had mentioned to me that Dallas had this incredible voice, and he was the singer in Alexisonfire, and he was looking to do this, the solo project. And so at the time there was like, I wasn't out and he wasn't out solo. So when I heard his acoustic songs, I'm like, wow, this guy has a real sentimental, emotional quality to his voice. Save Your Scissors is a great song. Coming Home is a great song. That album is really special. And we were just, we were making this magic then. And all of a sudden, Alexisonfire gets really, well, they were already pretty famous, but they just took off. And then, and Dallas's career just went like through the roof. Like he was playing stadiums after that. It was like, wow. And, I had my little song there too. And there was that magic that was happening. And I was really grateful that Joel gave me an opportunity to work with Dallas, because he was doing really well at the time, and they didn't have to give me any, I didn't know anybody. There was no like money necessarily involved. It was just a small sort of little deal we did to get things done. But something magical happened in that Dallas and I were brought together, and Joel facilitated that. And I love everything he's done with Dine Alone, and I've always wanted to work with Dine Alone myself. But so yeah, that was a really magical time. That was 2000 and about 2006 when everything really hit. And yeah.
And wasn't that song specifically, The Grace, like a last minute addition to the album? Like the album was mostly done, and within a month of it having to be released is when you guys wrote or recorded the song. Is that true? Or is that just the lore of Neverending White Lights and The Grace?
The lore of The Grace.
Yeah.
There was another song I recorded with Dallas, and it's the B-side on the 7-inch that it's recently been made available by.
That's the 2-song demo or 2-song EP that's out?
Yeah, so it's called My Fate. And we did it here, and I got a glimpse at Dallas's potential. And I thought, you know what, this song is not good enough. It's just not, to have a singer like that, that's the other thing, right? With Act One and with these records is, when you're writing songs for other artists, you really want to showcase their best. Sometimes you want to showcase things that are eclectic about them, or different or unique, hear them in a different light. But with Dallas, with a voice like that, I've got to write something higher. So it was almost like he was toying with the first song. If you listen to that song, it's like, it's a good song, but I'm like, this guy's got such an incredible gift. We have to unleash it. So I called him back and I said, I have another song, which was The Grace. Now that I wrote it in 20 minutes, right there by that plant. And it just came out, like it just popped in my head. And the record was coming out in September. This was August, I think, almost July or August. So it was like almost going to mastering. So it was the very last song on the record. And yeah, so the song comes out of me, and I'm specifically thinking that this is going to be special. I didn't know it was going to be as famous as it was, but I knew that it was special. I thought I had ripped somebody off because the chorus was so catchy. So I was looking through my songs to see if I'd stolen an idea, and lo and behold, it was my own. So I gave it to Dallas, and he said, "Yeah, I'll do another one."
Wow.
Like, oh God, thank God, we've got two now. So we did that vocal recording in St. Catharines, and Joel again let us do it. I was a nobody, totally, and it got slapped on the record like 2 nights before mastering. We were still mixing it, so I was like, hey, final mix, we got the mastering appointment. And then I didn't know that it was going to be the single. So when I played it to my team that was helping me at Fontana Universal, Kim Cook, who's the radio guy, he was walking by the room, and he says, that's the hit. And he knows his hits, I guess, right?
Was Save Your Scissors already out at that point or still not?
I don't think so.
Just wondering if there's the influence of this City and Color guy starting to build up, and he's on that song too, but maybe not.
Maybe. Well, there was some buzz about Dallas at the time, and so, but yeah, I mean, obviously Dallas's name helped interest in the song. So see, everything kind of leads to where it leads. So the radio's familiar. They're not familiar with me, but they're familiar with City and Color. So that worked. City and Color had a record coming out, so that worked.
And
right?
at least the Alexis on Fire affiliation, right? They've had a few gold or platinum albums at that point.
And then you have the sound of like emotional emo, which was a big thing. So Dallas had the hair, all the tattoos, and then I had kind of like the gothic sort of Victorian thing, which could be a little bit of an emo twist, and everything was just right at that time for that to happen. So
can you imagine that album without that song? Had you not, in 20 minutes come up with that song right before it's done?
No, that was a gift. When I write, I channel. Like I don't remember doing it, and I end up with songs. I don't remember how they were born. So The Grace was another one. Is like I barely remember. I don't remember anything about it except that I was sitting there and it just happened. But the record wouldn't be the same without that song, and it's kind of positioned in the middle end as this apex to the journey. And obviously, I think it's probably what most people listen to the most on that record. But if you start from the beginning, there is an arc, and every song does connect. So The Grace kind of comes in where it's kind of like the major questioning of put me where I belong, where am I really supposed to be? That starts with the first song, Would You Settle for a Wasted Life? It's like there's going to be some questioning on this record lyrically about life, death, existence. So when The Grace comes in, now you're actually asking your angels, do I belong on earth or do I not? Because it was a song kind of about suicide in a way. About
is it true that the original title is The Grace of a Happy Death? Is that true?
Yeah, but that was just such a sad.
The Grace is just such a nice name, and you can make it bigger on a poster. And
I've said this before, and it's important to me because it's okay to have sad feelings. It's okay to have sad thoughts. It's okay to feel emotional about things. It doesn't have to be hidden. It doesn't have to be like you have to be a macho guy that doesn't speak about depression or sadness. Like, it's fine. And we've all probably had low points in our lives where we've thought, like, what's the point? And for me, it just didn't seem strange to talk about suicide in that way. Like I felt like, okay, well, like really, what am I doing here? I felt uncomfortable a lot of my life in my skin. So that song was me really trying to figure out, like, can I die happily and not piss everybody off? Will I be pissing my family off? Yes. Will I be pissing angels off? Probably. It's like, you know, help me decide where I need to be, because I was really at that point that I really felt life was just very difficult for me to exist. I don't mean that like that I was like underprivileged or anything like that. I mean just like physical existence I struggled with. So that album had to be that story, and that song was kind of the peak of it. And even with that, with the chord in the chorus, like, you're not coming back for me, this things that would never be, so used to being wrong, put me where I belong. And it's this big E major chord, and it's kind of like this flooding of emotion. And so it was put on the record for that. And I'm grateful that it happened, because then the record became the record, and then everybody got a chance to hear it.